All right, I'm currently on the line with the guys of RoundTable Rejects, so I'm going to go ahead and give them each a chance to introduce themselves.
How's it going? I'm Trinity with the Roundtable Rejects, and Kurt, you want to announce yourself?
Yep, this is St. Curtis, man. Always a good time. I hope you guys are doing all right, man.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you guys for joining me. So these interviews, of course, are always geared at figuring out how somebody chose to become a musician. So why don't each of you take a turn kind of telling me about what the environment was like when you were growing up that pushed you into wanting to pursue a life in music?
St. Kurt, you want to start?
Yeah, I can 100% start. So in my life, ever since I was a kid, I was always heavily in the church. My grandfather's a pastor. Both of my grandfathers on my dad and my mom's side are both pastors, heavily in the church, and that's kind of where my music began. Music was always surrounding me as a kid, but I was in the church choir, singing, doing solos, things like that, and it's just never left. In school, I was always involved in things that were music based, and since it was like a core thing, and I was involved in like the church. And like, so God kind of showed himself through me with music. So that's kind of where I started with music. So it's a journey. It's a spiritual journey as well.
Cool, man. And then like for me, it was a little bit different. I wasn't raised very Christian. My family, they were very much like, hey, do your own thing, do what you want. But I was very athletic. So honestly, music to me, when I think of core memories for music, it was like enjoyable moments that me and my dad had when he was taking me to like my preschool and my kindergarten and stuff. It was just like simpler times, I guess. And I just remember, sitting in his red truck that he had, and I would imagine him racing everybody in the world. And yeah, and that's kind of where it started for me. It was just this good energy, a lot of good energy. And as I got older, things became more stressful, and music became that method and that coping mechanism for me to really exit the world's problems and then enter my own soul and kind of find my own experience with the help of the music.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the way that both of you kind of have your own kind of like internal investigative like prerogatives when it came to music. That's awesome. So tell me about how that kind of established in your lives then. Did you start looking for ways to write music, learning an instrument, or was it all like writing lyrics and stuff? Tell me a bit about that process.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Say, Kurt, you were going to say something. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. Man, like it was such a big thing. Like my grandmother bought me a guitar. I played that for a little bit, but I was more so focused on making my voice more the instrument. So like trying different things out, like trying to sing country, trying to sing gospel, trying to sing rap, like perform rap. And it was very hard because it was like, I didn't know which way to go because rap had such a negative aura, a negative perception around it. And me growing up so in the church, it was like, how could I make this my own? Because the music that was like, we had Lecrae, we had different artists that were Christian artists, that were good Christian artists. But to me, it was like I could never fit in the box. It sounded too much like a narrative. And I didn't want my music and my sound to sound like a narrative. Like I wanted it to be something unique that portrayed how hard life is, the goodness in it, but keeping the raw energy and not making it so narrow of this is what good Christian music looks like. This is what good Christian rap looks like. It's like, no, this is us pouring our heart out, which to me is one of the most Christian things you can do is be real, be truthful, and explain what you're going through and pour it out to your heavenly Father without holding yourself back from trying to portray it in the necessarily right way, but more so trying to portray it in the real way, being authentic and true to yourself. So that's kind of my fight with that. And the more I was in chorus, the more I listened to music, kind of discovering the way I wanted to deliver my message.
Okay, so
No. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just gonna ask, the additional question of, how did that turn into making beats and making music?
Man, first I was in like middle school, and then we kind of created this music group. It was just me and my friend just running around town, and we kind of created a music group. But the thing was, it was so hard for us because like he wasn't in the best situation. I was living in the projects. My mom, she was a single mother of four. We didn't really have the money to spend on like going to the studio or doing any of that. So like the culture stick with me of like trying to use anything you have, whether you're recording on your cell phone. Uh, BandLab was a great opportunity to kind of get into later on. But yeah, we started just recording on a cell phone, getting beats off of SoundCloud, really like literally anything that we could find just to make music, because that was what the passion was creating this thing. And it's always been a form of light, like since the beginning with if you want to bring up like Lucifer with his like him being the director of music in a sense, it was always a core thing that I knew would be special. So like we used it pretty much anything. To answer your question, we pretty much used anything we had to record, anything we found online. Now I'm getting like the more tools that I'm receiving now. Now I'm kind of getting more into making my own beats, to making like everything that I do reliant on myself. So I could do the work and go through the process fully on my shoulders instead of having to search outward for the things. I feel like it's so much easier when you get up and you're like, oh, okay, I could do it with just me. You get what I'm saying? You don't have to rely on anybody else to get your sound out there. So that's kind of where I am right now with it.
Awesome, that's great. And then Trini, did you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that for me, music wasn't really like in my core life in the beginning. It was a lot of sports in school. That was it. But like I said, music had been in there a little bit through like certain experiences. And so when I started making music, I didn't really have the self-confidence in myself that I could speak in front of people. Cause I'm like, I don't make music. This isn't my style. Like anytime that I would try to sing along, people would say you're out of tune or you sound tone deaf. So that these were subconscious things that were reasons that I was like, I just can't do this. I'm not good at art. I'm an athlete. This is what I do. But as I always like to write stories. When I was a little kid, I would write stories like for days. And so that's what really drove me into it. It was YNW Melly, Blue Balenciaga, and I was really sad. And I might have been a little bit off the plant medicine. And I was like, man, what's like, I've been doing everything for everyone else, I felt like. So I was like, let me do something for myself. So I opened up a piece of paper, I ripped it out of a notebook, and then I just started writing the most simple lyrics. And I'm going to tell them, can I say them? They're going to be like, there is cuss words in them. So if I can't say them, that's okay. Okay. So it was as simple as like, bad bitch Hispanic, wetter than Atlantic, dicker down Titanic. That's what I started with. Those were like my 3 first lines that I ever did. Now that I like look back on it, it's very silly and childish, but that's where I started from. I started with not much. I didn't have anyone that was musically around me. And for me, it became more of like, well, I want to learn this because this makes me happy. To be able to express myself makes me happy because my whole life I try to be as respectful as possible. So I hold in opinions and I and the music let me let that out. So it definitely started with lyrics. It definitely started with writing lyrics down. But as I got more comfortable with that presence, I was like, well, now I want to speak. So then I started freestyling. And I got that from Juice WRLD because I was really inspired by Juice WRLD and his story. And so I started trying to freestyle and learn that method. And I would watch little YouTube videos on how to rap. I would say I don't really have like a great chorus. I don't really have all that stuff right now. I'm still learning a lot, but I just want to learn. What I'm currently in the process of learning is the flow, how to
Man, don't let him be humble, bro. He is a great freestyler.
All right. Well, hey, enough about me. But yeah, that was just a little bit about like how the music has actually been implemented in my life and how I've started with that.
Yeah, that's great. That's excellent background. So that kind of brings us up to, where you guys are at now. How did this project come together with both of you contributing to it?
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
I just remember us like it was after college and like dude, like this has been like a very purpose filled drive. Like RTR was very purpose filled from the beginning. And it was like we had reached out to each other and me and him used to like catch up on each other. And I feel like we were the first ones out of our whole group in college that would really like catch up with each other.
Well, say Kurt, can I pause and like take it just a little bit earlier?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when we first met, we were all in college. Half of us were wrestlers in this college. And I was in a fraternity at this time, and they were just new wrestlers. And I was like, they were cool. They had that energy, and I was like, it was better than kind of some of the people who were around me at the time, and they liked to make music. And I was looking for people who like to make music and like to be a part of that process. And so when they came up, we all started hanging out. We would have like freestyle sessions at the top of my frat house because we had our own spot. So I'd get everyone up there and we'd make music. That's where I think it really started, is when we would all just come together and we were chilling and we were just putting our creative minds together and just like, how can we make college the most fun? And how can we do the best for ourselves and be there for each other? That's where I think RTR really started. But fast forward, and then St. Kurt, you take it away from where you were going.
Yeah, man. Like it was just a very hard time in my life. I didn't really have a place to stay, but me and Trinity would just hop on the phone and we talk about what we were going through, and then we just finish it off freestyling. And it was like, oh my gosh, the freestyling was just coming, and we were able to bounce off of each other, and it was like in such a unique way and format to where it was very purposeful, and it was like, yo, what if we grew this bond and this connection to where things just keep elevating instead of battling necessarily darkness and lowering yourself? Because when you battle and you go through hard things, it kind of takes a toll on you. So it was like, what if we could just build this positivity kind of flowingness of reaching new heights and new levels, even in music, and spreading that out to the outside world. Is just a mindset instead of tearing each other down, a mindset of boosting and elevating each other, and then sharing that with the world and making
sharing
that
the greatness, sharing the like building a legacy that people can be a part of, because all they have to do is start it themselves. And like, I think RTR is really just like showing people that like, there's so much negativity. There's so many people who are like, hey, you can't do this. Like your flow's whack, or, you're not it. You're not ready for it. But I like and I think to myself, how many of these artists before they had a name, how many of them were told those things? How many of them they were just dreaming? But the difference between dreaming and reality is the steps that you take to get towards it. And yeah, you're going to get that negative thing, but that's what what St. Kurt was saying, is that if we can come together, we can fight the negativity together as a collaborative, as a collective, and we can make music in a united front. And the united front is to help humanity. Not like no more pointless arguments, no more pointless wars and killing each other over small things. In the grand scheme of things, what we think are big problems are really small problems. And so if RTR can just be that collective, and we can show people, hey, you can do that in your neighborhood. You can do that with your friend group, because we're the rejects. We're not the superstars. If a reject can do it, you can do it too. And right. That's the mindset we want to give to the people.
100%. A culture of...
I completely resonate with the philosophy behind that. That's a lot of what my project is about as well. Tell me a bit about...
Tell me about that. No, tell me about your project. Let me hear a little bit about
that. We can do that after the interview. But we'll talk about my stuff, but this is about you. Tell me about where you guys are now. You mentioned that you've gotten to the point where you're working together, you're making beats, writing music. Are you guys working on an album to put out? Are you guys doing shows? Like, where are you guys in that cycle?
St. Kurt, you want to start?
Upcoming projects. We have a Gas EP that we've kind of been sitting on for a minute, kind of letting it build and generate so we could drop it in more of like divine timing of it.
And Gas EP,
so it's dropped in a good area.
Gas EP stands for God's Angelic Servants, for those who were wondering. It wasn't. Right. We're not just talking about like we smoking up out here, but it's a couple entendres out there. But yeah,
100%. Put a little bit of respect on God's angelic servants. That's fire. We have a song that's supposed to be dropping tomorrow called "Cry Out," and it's like a little bit about fighting depression, and kind of where to start from there. But like I said, I take these narratives and try to kind of spin them in a way that's not your usual kind of, and I hate to use this word, but like honestly, corny. I don't want to come off any like corny. You get what I'm saying? So like, try to deliver it in a raw way. Oath of the Fallen. That's another project that's coming out. We also got a website that we're kind of cooking up that we're hoping to drop on summer, and then that will include merch. Right now, I'm in a contest next to Rise. And my next performance is going to be in Atlanta on June 1st. So that's kind of what we got going on there. But now we're just trying to pretty much get the message out because we have a story and it'd probably be hard to kind of get into it in this kind of time frame. But there's more to come, guys. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
There's more to it, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned that you do have shows out there and you're putting stuff out. Where can people find that stuff? What are your social media links?
Go ahead, Trent.
So our main one is our Instagram, which is RoundTable Rejects 111. And it's all together, just like Knights of the Round Table, and then Rejects all together 111. And then usually if you just look up RoundTable Rejects on our other social media platforms, you can find us there. Our main music platform is going to be Spotify. That's where most of our music is. We were thinking about making a SoundCloud, but more for like our unreleased playlist, very similar to like the old Juice WRLD style, kind of an ode to that era that's past us. We were thinking about maybe doing something with that. But RoundTable Rejects is the surefire way to find us.
Right. And guys, if you tap into the Instagram, you'll be able to pretty much see everything RoundTable Rejects for now.
Perfect. So I always like to give the people I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So why don't each of you take a moment to share a message that you think other people need to hear?
I could start off.
Sure.
For you guys that are rejected, for you guys that are alone, for you guys that are going through stuff and you feel like you have nowhere else to turn. And just for you guys that feel like the world right now is not giving enough. You're not feeling your true fulfillment. I know you have dreams. I know you have passions. I know you have things that you want to achieve. And just to let you know, guys, you are not going through it alone. You have people that are working every single day in the background to make sure that you succeed. And we are those people that will continue to grind every single day. I know that other people might not believe in your dreams, but we believe in your dreams like they are our own dreams. And we won't stop until you can have the life that you want to live.
Solid. That was solid. I'd say what I want to give out to people is collective versus individual mindset to think on that. And what I mean by that is working with a team as opposed to working with yourself. Both are equally as important, and balancing them is the key to a successful and healthy life.